On May 30th, a New York jury concluded that former President Donald Trump was guilty of all 34 charges against him. This event marks an unprecedented moment in American history, as it is the first time a former president has been found guilty of multiple felonies in a criminal case. Trump was convicted of falsifying business records to conceal hush money payments made to former porn star Stormy Daniels, with the intent of suppressing unfavorable information before the 2016 election to sway voter opinion in his favor. Upon hearing the announcement of his 34 guilty verdicts, Trump was in disbelief and expressed disappointment. He responded firmly, stating, "I am innocent," and denounced the trial as a disgrace and rigged, but remained optimistic, asserting, "The people know what happened here and will decide on November 5th. For now, Trump is free on his own recognizance without posting bail and can file an appeal within 30 days, though his freedom of movement may be somewhat restricted. There is widespread speculation that Trump will not be imprisoned before the November 5th election. The specific sentence from the New York court will be announced at 10 a.m. on July 11th, just 4 days before the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It is anticipated that on this date, Trump will officially be chosen as the Republican presidential candidate for 2024. However, the July 11th verdict will have significant implications for Trump and his prospects in the November 5th election. The New York court has several options for sentencing Donald Trump: house arrest, fines, community service, or imprisonment. The sentence for each charge is under consideration, but the court may consolidate the charges into a single cumulative sentence with a maximum penalty. For example, Trump could face up to 4 years for each charge, meaning the total prison time could reach 136 years for all 34 charges. However, state law permits a maximum sentence of 20 years for this case. Many experts hope that imprisonment will not be applied to Donald Trump, as he has no prior felony convictions, and the charges are not classified as violent offenses. There are additional reasons that experts cite to explain why the scenario of Trump being behind bars is unlikely to come to fruition. In the history of American criminal justice, this situation represents uncharted territory, as law enforcement agencies have never before had to deal with the incarceration of a former president, and no federal prison is specifically designed for such a scenario. Moreover, there is a significant paradox. By law, former U.S. presidents are entitled to Secret Service protection, which complicates the potential for incarceration even further. Presidents receive lifelong personal security protection regardless of their location or activities. This means that security personnel would need to accompany Trump into prison, taking turns to protect him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Although firearms are generally prohibited in prisons, for Trump's safety, security officers would be permitted to carry weapons. Trump might be housed in a separate area and could demand no contact with other inmates. There would also need to be stringent checks on his food and personal items. Currently, there are 7 prisons in New York City. Typically, sentences of up to 1 year in New York are served on Rikers Island. Thus, organizationally, Trump and his security detail could be accommodated in a special building. Finding a suitable accommodation and specific protective measures for Trump will be a new issue to discuss following the July 11th verdict. Before the trial concerning Trump's hush money payments in April, Judge Juan Merchan had warned him that attacking witnesses and jurors could result in jail time. If Trump shows contempt for the court, the judge could order him to be detained for a short period either before or during the trial. Subsequently, federal, state, and city officials met with Secret Service personnel to discuss the enforcement measures for this unique case. Under current law, the fine is approximately $5,000 per offense. Thus, the maximum fine for Donald Trump could reach $175,000. If Trump is sentenced to probation, this scenario will unfold very unusually. Specifically, Trump would be prohibited from contacting individuals the court deems suspicious. If he reoffends, he could be jailed immediately. Most notably, the former commander-in-chief of the U.S. Armed Forces would have to regularly report to a local probation officer, comply with their instructions, and answer questions about his work and personal life until the probation period ends.
Cheers. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Today's verdict shows no one is above the law.
Within the Republican Party, there have been significant developments. Many Republicans, including Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, now defend Trump.
The verdict will be overturned on appeal. The period from the verdict on July 11th until November 5th, the official date of the general election in the United States, will be highly unpredictable.
Firstly, Trump could use the New York court's verdict as a tool to further galvanize his supporters and advertise it as part of his campaign strategy. Trump argues that the American government system is deliberately trying to destroy candidate Donald Trump. This tactic appears effective for Trump, as evidenced by his campaign raising $35 million just hours after the jury found him guilty, with continued financial support from billionaires like Bill Ackman from the insurance industry. Secondly, the exposure of scandals and a presidential candidate being unanimously found guilty by a court cannot be ignored. Thus, the verdict's repercussions will heavily impact the campaign. Thirdly, on the contrary, the opinions of Trump's loyal supporters have long been established. The court's verdict is unlikely to alter their admiration for his personality or their support for his political views. As the November 5th election approaches, the nation watches closely with many unpredictable factors at play.